Before patent, before Longinus, the Spear of Destiny was owned by the line of David. The spear had a companion also, a sword. The first owner of the sword and the spear was Goliath of Gath. Goliath was a Philistine. The word says the Philistines are from Egypt. The territory of the Canaanites was always peopled by the Nephilim and the Rephaim. This accounts for Goliath's size and extra fingers and toes. David killed Goliath with his own sword. Goliath's sword and spear passed down to Solomon. Solomon took the sword out of the temple and put it on a ship. One of his descendants will find the sword and board the ship and rule with the sword as a symbol of kingship. This is the Excalibur of Arthurian legend. So the real Excalibur would have looked something like this. The spear and the sword of destiny disappeared until 286 AD when it came into possession of Maurus. Maurus commanded the Theban Legion. The Theban Legion was sent to Gaul to put down the rebellion. On inspection of the bodies, Maurus found that he was killing Christians. This disturbed him greatly, being a Christian himself. Maurus refused to fight anymore in Gaul. Eventually, he and all 6,000 of the Theban Legion was killed, including Maurus. Maurus was the example that Europeans used for knightly conduct and the code of chivalry. During the Jewish revolt, Judas of Maccabee and the high priest prayed for guidance. It is said that the prophet Jeremiah appeared. Jeremiah handed Judas a golden sword and told him, "Take this holy sword, a gift from God, with which you will strike down your adversaries." This sword was said to be the same sword of Attila the Hun and Charlemagne. Marius also had this sword. Likewise, Charlemagne was never defeated as long as the sword and the spear was by his side. Charles Martel had the spear and sword during the Battle of Tours in 732 AD. He was the grandson of Charlemagne. The Moors were revolting against the Arabs. Was this chance or just the power of the spear and the sword? Around 1800, the sword and spear was moved to Austria to keep it from falling into the hands of Napoleon. Napoleon never possessed the spear, and he fell into ruin at Waterloo. General Patton returned the spears to Austria. No sign of the sword is to be found. Dark forces are always connected to the Spear of Destiny. Perhaps it is the spirit of Goliath. It is said that when the Nephilim die, their spirits roam the earth. They are part mortal and part immortal. The physical body dies, but the spirit can't go to God or to their punishment into the pit. They will be punished with their parents in the end times. Still, much press surrounds the Spear of Destiny. Nothing is said about the Sword of Destiny. The importance of the spear over the sword seems to be purely cultural, or just a way to take attention off of the sword. So just think about it. Goliath was the devil's champion. He wanted to kill God's champion with a spear, right? We all know how that turned out. So when the new David came, which was Jesus or Yeshua, the enemy was excited because he had the chance to stab the son of David with that same spear that Goliath was going to stab the original David with. But in the end, the devil fell for the trick because Jesus died on the hill of Golgotha, where the skull of Goliath was buried. So even in the end, Jesus stood on top of the giant skull, and he didn't get the victory. And we also win in the spirit.
Is the one that they believe when the temple is rebuilt in the city of David, their man, the person that they had handpicked, was at some point going to walk into the Holy of Holies, take the blade and shed his own blood, and then proclaim himself to be the Messiah. And then these sons of the fallen, they plan on ruling the world. They believe it enough to not only be willing to kill for it, they believe it enough to die for it.
And right now, they're trying to move in Jerusalem to make that new temple rise.
Yes.
So that this next coming happens.
Yes.
And that they will have, therefore, control of this world.
Yes.
Now, the key thing to me is you don't believe that Lucifer